If I can't keep my head held high enough, I'll just speak love and watch the smiles come, bring my spirits up. There's some shit I like to fix, but I still know that I'm blessed.
Welcome back to my coverage of the Kristin Smart case. We have some tidbits today and some big decisions to cover. So let's get into it. As we head into 2023, we're still waiting for Paul's sentencing. The guilty verdict was announced months ago. And on February 9th of 2023, there will be a status hearing. Then we have to wait another month until March 10th, 2023 for what is expected to finally be the sentencing. Paul's attorney announced that he is preparing a motion for a new trial. I hope that motion is denied like all the others. It's not the first one he's filed during this process. Sanger claims the motion for the new trial is based on new information. We'll see. I have included all 4 pages of the motion to continue sentencing for those of you who like to review the actual documents. Just pause if you'd like to review the motion here. One good thing is that Paul remains in SLO County Jail. Jail always sucks, but SLO Jail is known to be sketchy, especially the COs and how they treat the inmates. You can Google it if you want and see some of the things where the federal government, I believe, had to get involved and monitor. And so that's a whole nother episode, which I'm not going to cover. But if you're curious, I encourage you to look. The jail sits on the outskirts of San Luis Obispo, on your way basically headed out to Morro Bay. And originally Bobby was going to get some footage out there so you could see how crappy it is where Paul's staying. But unfortunately, our area has been being hit with back-to-back deadly record-breaking storms. I'm going to try to actually put a pictorial video together of some of the battering and some of the loss of life and stuff in a separate episode. And by the way, we don't go out into the storms. We heed the warnings and stay home. And I really don't go out to the aftermath until it's been several days. We always try to stay safe. Unfortunately, a lot of those deaths were avoidable, but I digress. So instead of going out to the jail, I just inserted some still photographs and some maps of the facility so you can get an idea of where it is and what it's like. Once he's sentenced for the murder of Kristin Smart, he'll be transferred to prison, and I've been told he could end up at any number of prisons. California has 34 men's prisons. I've also been told that he could even end up at an out-of-state facility. For example, most of you know Chris Watts, the monster that killed his family. He was moved from a Colorado prison in the state where he had killed his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. But he's now housed in Dodge Correctional Institution because it was too dangerous in Colorado for him. And that's in an entirely different state, as you can see. According to my research, convicted murderers are mostly housed at a maximum security level 4 prison, where all the most dangerous convicted felons in the state are. Apparently there's a scoring system they use. For example, scores 0 to 18 is level 1, 19 to 35 is level 2, 36 to 59 is level 3, and so on. Here are some of the possibilities, including Corcoran, High Desert, Kern Valley, and Pelican Bay, California. California consists of level 1 through 5 prisons. I just can't picture Paul in prison. I feel like they'll eat him alive as soon as they can. I imagine he'll be in protective custody for some time. We all know fellow prisoners gain clout and notoriety and go down in history for, quote, taking out a high-profile inmate, such as Paul. Here's some stats. In 2019, 143 inmates were murdered in prison in the United States. In 2018, it was 124 killed. You can see, looking at these historical stats, it's clear that inmate murder rates increase every year, going down to 40 killed in 2008 versus the 143 killed in 2019. I do not have the stats for 2020, 2021, or 2022, but it clearly continues to rise, as covered here, where 2 inmates were killed in a California prison within 24 hours. Now that we are past the holidays, we're going to search for Kristin ourselves again. We know it's a long shot, but we feel like we need to try. We're going to start searching in locations suggested by some of our subs. For example, Sean Davis here has been really helpful, and I'm going to search the areas he suggested, which are the marshes in Pismo Beach. And who knows, we've had big storms too, and I was even mentioning to Bobby, this could have washed soil away, disrupted a grave, it could have exposed bones. I mean, this might be the perfect opportunity to get that out there and look for her. You just never know. What I do know is we can't stop. So also Branch Mill Road, at Huber Road, which is near Ruben's house. Also Newsom Canyon, he suggested. Some way, somehow, she has to be found. And we don't consider it a waste of time. Here we have another loosely related story. This December of 2022, Muir Hall, which was Kristin's dorm, was evacuated after a mattress fire. And guess what I immediately thought of? Paul's mattress, which was part of the evidence, as you recall, at trial. The fire was on the 2nd floor, and they were able to put it out with a fire extinguisher, and they had to evacuate all the students out of there, and they used fans and got all the smoke out, and they were able to return after a few hours, but it is under investigation. By the way, keep your eyes out for the search videos. We'll start posting those now and again here. After the long wait of 26 years for Paul's guilty verdict, I'm sure you aren't surprised that our top local story for the year of 2022 was the trial of Paul and Ruben. Paul was, of course, convicted of first-degree murder for killing Kristin Smart in May of 1996. His 81-year-old father was found not guilty by a separate jury. It was decided in the verdict that Paul was attempting to rape Kristin when he killed her, and Paul was last seen with Kristin the night she disappeared. He lied to the police constantly. For example, at least 3 different lies about the black eye and how he got it. And of course, it's expected that it happened in a struggle with Kristin during her rape, attempted rape, and ultimate murder. She was only 19 years old. Think about that. During a 2020 raid of Paul's home in San Pedro, California, they found a computer that had child porn and other videos with assaults on women. RAP assaults. Sorry, I have to spell this out because otherwise my videos get blocked and no one ends up seeing them. Those videos had nasty titles. I'm not going to repeat them all. It's been discussed multiple times. He also had homemade RAP videos of his own and even included ball gags shoved in the mouths of unconscious females as he violated them in various disgusting ways, which I'm also not going to get into here. I have gone over the whole document that includes the details in a previous episode if you want to find that on the playlist, the Kristin Smart playlist. I honestly don't miss covering this case because it just breaks my heart. It ended up being so heavy. It affected me greatly, actually, through the trial. I struggled quite a bit. I can't imagine what the people that were close to her were feeling during that. So like I said, we do have a Kristin playlist if you want to check any of that out. I've been covering it from the beginning. It's part of why I actually started our channel. And I covered every single day of the trial there. Thanks to Your Own Backyard, Chris Lambert. He was in the courtroom and he was giving us a play-by-play, so I put that in video format if anyone's interested. The police also found 2 bottles of date rape drugs at Paul's during the 2020 raid. And Paul was known to lurk around bars around closing time in his local area, looking for drunk, vulnerable ladies. And then, best they can tell, he would furthermore drop date rape drugs into their drink and wait. And once they passed out, Paul would attack and film his depraved assaults on unwilling victims. He literally makes my skin crawl. So the first week of 2023, we have breaking news, and we're not going to like it. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. Even with all the evidence regarding the child PORN, which was found by police at his home, on his computer, and Paul being the sole occupant of the home, they're still not moving forward. So let's review the latest update from the Los Angeles DA. The LA DA has decided not to charge Paul with multiple rapes or child PORN. Yes, you heard me right. No charges will be filed against him. He's now 46 years old. To recap, and according to this article, a local site, Cal Coast News, no one else is really covering this latest development, so I'm going to go with their article, and I found like 2 others. In the 2020 raid of Paul's Southern California home, deputies found 2 bottles of date rape drugs, as I said. I'm just reviewing it as they posted it. Bondage tools and multiple RAP and CPRN videos. These illegal videos were stored on his computer in a file labeled, quote, practice, end quote. These videos featured Paul himself assaulting women every which way, which you can see listed above. By the way, don't forget they were unconscious or semi-conscious at the time, which means they were not consenting. This video is definitely going to be suppressed from YouTube with all the horrific truth, but the truth must be told. According to LAPD, they were able to track down 2 of the women being assaulted in the tapes that they found when they searched Paul's residence. Evidence showed that Paul drugged them in order to SA them. During the preliminary trial, SLO District Attorney planned to add 2 charges for these rapes of an intoxicated person, which is what he was accused of doing or attempting to do to Kristin back in May of 1996. In 2012, a SLO judge refused to allow the additional rape charges to be included in Kristin's trial. Once the trial was moved to Monterey County, the new judge, Judge O'Keefe, ruled that 3 victims would be allowed to testify at the trial due to the similarities to Kristin's case. Mentioned again here, we have also heard the details about the 15-year-old classmate back in 1994 who attended high school with Paul at Arroyo Grande High School. She was drugged, raped, and dumped by Paul, according to her. This article reminds us of another 1995 victim who was stalked and groped by Paul. And in another incident with the same victim, Paul crashed a bathroom door open at a party and threatened to RAP her. In 2013, another SA victim in Redondo Beach came forward, but police failed to file charges. Paul's victims say they blacked out and couldn't remember what exactly happened. Well, isn't that convenient? Sorry, that was a side note. Other women even refused to testify who were sexually assaulted by Paul. Let's take a look to see what other people have to say about this latest development where Paul once again gets away with horrific crimes. It's just always been so fishy to me, his preferential treatment. I've never been able to put my finger on it, though. So we have comments like this one. Infuriating. Other words are used like wow, disgusting, not surprising, irresponsible. And of course, people are saying there might not be enough for the sexual assaults, but the CPORN is a slam dunk. Some think it might be because it's too costly to prosecute and that the long sentence expected will keep him off the streets. I have no idea how they justify their decision to let Paul get away with it. Why? Many people are concerned that his guilty verdict won't stick. I have to hold on to hope that he'll be put away till his death. I'm not 100% sure this is accurate, but I find it interesting enough to mention. A 2007 rape was mentioned in Rubin's arrest warrant, but not part of Paul's murder trial. It's not clear if the 2007 SA was the third SA victim who we all expected to testify as outlined in the prosecution's opening statements. What I was not aware of was that whoever doe number 3 was, she did not testify after a motion was filed by Paul's defense, and we'd never heard that detail. I'd sure like to know more about that. We'd all been so concerned and curious about why she never testified. I hope she's doing okay. Now we just have to wait for Paul's sentencing in March of 2023, and hopefully there won't be any further delays. Paul continues to sit in Slow County Jail for now. He'll be assigned to his new home soon. And I'm also curious where they're going to put him. As always, hashtag find Kristin Smart.
If I can't keep my head held high enough, I'll just speak love and watch the smiles come.
Thanks for watching.
Bring my spirits up.
Don't forget to stop and smell the flowers.
There's some shit I like to fix, but I still know that I'm blessed.